I've always been a huge fan of remote working, and in the last couple of years even more so.
Programming stuff needs to be creative. Have a bad day and you don't have the idea what to do and you're sitting in the office, you cannot produce anything. You just close the laptop, maybe you go home, and you will not open it up when you're at home just because you have the idea now. But if you work remotely and you're at home at all, maybe you have an idea just before going to bed, and the chance to just open up the laptop and to try it out, and if it works to do it tomorrow, is much higher than in the setting with an office. So my opinion is really people even will work more remotely. Hi, I'm Thomas.
You like remote working?
Yes, currently I'm really a big fan of remote working, and actually our company doesn't even have an office at all. So everyone works remote from their home offices, and I think it works really good for us.
And have you always been like this? Have you always been passionate about remote working?
Actually, I haven't, and ironically, in the company I worked before, I was the guy who was totally against working remote because honestly I just did not trust the people to work. I thought they would do anything like watch TV, do the laundry or whatever, but not work. And I was always the guy who sort of forbid doing it. And now in the new company where I'm sort of pushed into remote working is the only possible way because we don't even have an office. Now I just realize the advantages, and it's like mind-blowing. I did not know that at all. And actually I really think that people working remote actually work more than in the office. Like with us it's like we are sort of a creative bunch of people, right? What we do, like programming stuff, needs to be creative. And if you have a bad day and you don't have the idea what to do and you're sitting in the office, you cannot produce anything. You just close the laptop, maybe you go home, and you will not open it up when you're at home just because you have the idea now. But if you work remotely and you're at home at all, maybe you have an idea just before going to bed, and the chance to just open up the laptop and to try it out, and if it works to do it tomorrow, is much higher than in the setting with an office. So my opinion is really people even will work more remotely.
I think that's a really good example because I've always been a huge fan of remote working, and in the last couple of years even more so. But I didn't think of that example. So I have lots of great examples, but that example I think hits the nail right on the head because you're right. They will do more because for them they haven't got that disassociation between work and the office. Like it's there and they can do something if they get that thought, that creative idea. And they save so much time on commuting as well. So they'll have a bit more time for themselves and a bit more time for working as well.
Yes.
So I'm glad to hear you're a great advocate of remote working. And what sort of tools do you use to help?
The most important one is video conferencing, and actually what I see is that I now talk to the team more than I used to talk to them when we had offices. I was just one door away, but we did not talk so much. I don't know why, but now we use video conferencing all the time, and this is really, really well and really connects us. And another thing about trust is, I think you mentioned that, is if you don't trust the people, so why did you hire them? And this really stuck in my head, and I think this is brutally right. This is fundamental the way to go, and I really think that I was just wrong when I was against remote working.
I think it's great that you realise that now. And a disclaimer, I didn't come up with that. I didn't invent that. I got that from Gary V. So thank you very much. But you're absolutely right that you should trust them. You work with them, and if they ever abuse that consistently, because okay, sometimes things happen, then you just have to make it clear that this is a privilege, and if they abuse it, it's not going to get taken away, because I think that's really bad. I think you get rid of them, and also your market becomes bigger, right? You're not just fixed to your town. You can go other countries in Europe. And
yes, actually, this is really, really a big advantage which I haven't thought of at all, and this is recruiting. In the old company where we had our offices in Berlin, everyone was supposed to move there. So recruiting was very, very difficult. It was so difficult to convince good people to move to Berlin just to be able to work with us. And now, since we don't have an office at all, you can work from all over the world. It's much easier to get to the good people. I haven't thought of that at all before.